we're back with some 80s rewind pilot episodes. What are we watching today?
We're back in time, buddy.
He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. He has the power.
Prince.
There's a story
Something.
of a young boy named Prince Adam who gets a sword of Grayskull and must protect Castle Grayskull and Eternia from the evil Skeletor and his reign of bad guys.
And Tyler and I are the cigar chomping executives in the elevator who are listening to this bitch.
Yeah.
Now, how does he fight this Skeletor guy? Tell me about that. What does he do?
So, one of the things is at this time there was an explosion in popularity of barbarian crap. So, like the Conan the Barbarian comic books were really popular. There's a bunch of cartoons starring various barbarian type characters. You were getting knockoffs all over the place in comic books and cartoons.
Why is he talking in the past tense? It's like he's
Where are you from?
You get
Where are you from?
Yeah, go ahead.
You get like you get all sorts of different barbarian knockoff characters or whatever in comic books and cartoons. We had the Conan movie, all that stuff. So it was all like that era. And so that's why He-Man is Big Barbarian Man, who essentially looks like a blonde Conan the Barbarian. And of course, the thing with all this is like just like in G.I. Joe, all his buddies have various gimmicks. So like they do various things that are cool for toys. Same with the bad guys; they all have their various gimmicks to make unique, cool toys. This is another one that went for a handful of years, but like was just ran absolute terror over parents' pocketbooks. This is another one. My brother was prime time for all of these. So like G.I. Joe, like Turtles, like Thundercats. I have a bunch of He-Man toys as well that I would play with when I was a kid. And yeah, it was just he's got a big green cat that he rides, Battle Cat.
Yeah.
Cat.
You know what I mean? He's got 6 swords.
Does that thing evolve too? Like when Prince Adam?
Yeah, because it starts out as this
he gets
like
the armor.
Yeah.
He's like a cowardly little tiger guy.
shitty little.
And then he gets all cool and gets armor and crap.
So sorry if I can just
Go for it.
quick. Tyler, you shared your anecdote about G.I. Joe,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna share mine about He-Man.
Okay.
He-Man.
I basically had never seen more than maybe a fleeting second of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, the show.
Yep.
But I, for some reason, just happened to get my hands on like a number of the toys throughout my childhood. Were like at a random garage sale or at a like thrift store with my grandma in this one random town that I never went to again. I would just get these toys, and then later on in life, it was like, oh, there's a villain who like his face turns around and he's got multiple faces or something like that.
Yep.
Just things like that. And then I didn't even know when I was a kid that they were He-Man stuff, but then I rented the Dolph Lundgren Masters of the Universe.
Forgot about that. That was a big one for you. You had a bunch. You'd watch that a bunch.
Well, because it was like weird where we went to the movie store. I rented it. I was like, oh, He-Man. Okay, yeah, Skeletor. Let's do it. And then we brought home, like we got takeout like Famous Dave's or something like that. And
Hell yeah.
In the movie, I started watching the movie, and it starts taking place on Earth with Gildor like stealing ribs from Courtney Cox and shit.
Yeah.
And I'm eating ribs in real life, and I'm like, this is just a weird serendipity. And I'm watching a shitty movie that I love.
Barbecue sauce in your face, like, whoa.
Yes, I did.
It's like I'm
Franklin
there.
Skeletor did.
I pushed play. I remember I pushed play on the VCR and I sat down and dug into my ribs and I was all covered in the sauce and I was like, well, I'm not going to stop it because I'm all covered in sauce. And
That's
I
great.
wanted it, so we're going to watch it.
That's a good one.
Yeah, dude. Dolph Lundgren, He-Man, Frank Langella, Skeletor.
For the longest time, that was my
Yeah,
major exposure to
I remember that.
Masters of the Universe.
Awesome. Well, to remind people out there, when we were young growing up, we didn't have streaming things. We couldn't just instantaneously find things online and watch them. We either had to wait for them to come on TV, and your SOL
Serendipitously come across it on TV.
that too, but renting things or finding them at a thrift shop is the best way to discover new things.
That's a good thing to point out too. Is that was the first one of them to get a live action movie too.
Dang.
You know what I mean?
True.
You know,
Yeah.
because Transformers and GI Joe wasn't until much later. You know what I mean?
Did
Thundercats
G.I.
had never
Joe
had one.
come after Transformers?
No, GI Joe. The movie.
Yes.
Yes, that was
Okay, that's what I thought.
after. Yeah.
Michael Bay fucking paved the way there, and then
Yeah. But so that was the first one of those, and I remember too, it had a animated series in the early 2000s that was pretty tight. Also,
He-Man, right?
yeah, He-Man,
And there's also one on Amazon, right?
Just like all those fuckers had cool early 2000 shows. Transformers, He-Man, fucking Thundercats, fucking Turtles. They all had shows in the 2000s that were really tight.
well,
And then He-Man again recently had the Netflix ones as well.
He-Man and She-Ra, or was it just She-Ra?
No, She-Ra had her own series,
That's
but
what I
there was
thought.
Master of the Universe Revelation, which was Kevin Smith was the showrunner on.
Okay.
And that went for 2 parts, and then there was Masters of the Universe Revolution, and then there was also a kids-oriented He-Man show that was on there too. And those all did fairly well as well. She-Ra especially. But
Interesting. Well, I'm pretty interested to see this one because, like G.I. Joe, we have a villain that I think is really compelling and really
has a silly
goes
voice.
for it. Yeah, like we were talking about in G.I. Joe when we were watching it. Cobra Commander's going crazy with it.
Yeah.
I imagine Skeletor is going to be just like that.
but the one thing that I distinctly know about Skeletor, I feel like Cobra Commander was doing it even without an audience. He would be alone in a room and just and Skeletor, sure, he will do that too. But I feel like he typically does have some sort of companion or audience to be witnessing his antics, and it's not just isolated. It's just funny when Cobra Commander's doing it isolated. I don't know.
Yeah, there's some kind of pathetic nature to it when he's by himself.
That's a good way to put it.
Mark Hamill is Skeletor in the Kevin Smith Masters of the Universe too. He does good Skeletor voice.
I did not know that actually. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know how I didn't know that.
Prince of Eternia and defender of the secrets of Castle Grayskull.
Like how he just already looks like He-Man. He doesn't even look like a little wimpy
My
boy.
fearless
And I
friend.
love how he just walks right into the lore. I'm Adam, Prince of Eternia, and I rule over these.
Sword and said, by the power of Grayskull.
All right. That one was interesting.
That was the
That
He-Man.
was He-Man, Masters of the Universe. What'd you guys think?
Part action cartoon, part Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. Yeah, very much
Very
Scooby-Doo.
zips and zoinks and kabooms and splats and noises, kerthunks, whiz bangs, slide whistles. All those tropes.
All the good stuff.
The abrupt stop and all those stock sound effects that you'd know from Scooby-Doo chase scenes and things like that.
Yep. Even Zargaz or whatever his name is, his voice is very like goofy character on Scooby Doo as well.
Yeah. Interesting characters. Very one note. Everybody's very. I was gonna say flaccid.
Generic.
Yeah, I was gonna say flaccid. That was the word that came into my mind. Just to be honest. Flaccid. Except for Zagreus and Orko.
Yeah.
And Skeletor. Obviously.
I don't know.
Maybe the cat for a little bit too. Like
Maybe the cat.
the cat didn't talk as much. Didn't have really a character. Battle Cat.
Well, once it became Danger Cat, it didn't.
Injured it?
Cringer Cat. No, I feel like for me, this was probably one of the weaker ones that we've watched.
Oh yeah.
I just got a kick out of Skeletor. I'm a fan of this guy. I'd watch for this guy. I'd continue because of his dynamic. He's so grim and like ghostly and spooky looking, but the silly voice contrasted with that, morbid feature is just funny.
He almost seems oddly optimistic too, and he's just always like,
it's something endearing about him. I hate Prince Adam and He-Man. I just love Skeletor. It could have been different when I was growing up if I ever caught this, but I enjoy Skeletor. I want him to win. I want him to finally do something. His design is great. I love skeletons.
Oh yeah.
I will be your brave boy, father.
Man-at-Arms just looks like a walking bullet.
yeah, he always looked like super awkward to me whenever I saw Man-at-Arms.
His dick helmet.
But he doesn't. I mean, I don't know. Man-at-Arms, to me, he should be like wielding like some sort of weird electricity mace, or like have a bunch of different like tanks and planes and just different stuff that he like.
His arms
uses
and legs should like morph into like different artillery or something,
Whoa!
Yeah,
body
they kind of do
horror.
eventually. If I remember correctly.
Like his legs should turn into like jet propulsions, and his arms should turn into like miniguns and just like fucking.
His arms too. Yeah,
And he should
be
feel
able to
all of
jump.
it as it happens.
He's like, oh fuck! Ah! For Adam, ah!
I feel every moment of this.
Oh no! I'm a stupid, silly wizard. Whatever he calls himself.
His voice was
Nobody wants to.
Charlie in the box.
Nobody wants to play with a wizard in a box. Yeah, there's not a whole lot to say about this. It's just the animation is kind of herky-jerky, reused. I could tell some sequences like this real quick. This was referenced. Like that motion, that quick little jaunt up into frame. I could tell somebody just like outlined themselves, like drew over footage of themselves walking into a frame like that.
Super standout moment to me of what you're talking about is like right up here, right before these guys land. Tila like does this weird little like run shuffle. Yeah, right there. I was watching this and I was like, hold on, what the heck? This is so weird. Look at that.
That's definitely referenced for sure.
Yeah, and it's not well done, but it just
to get the proportions when she's walking forward like that is kind of funky. Like
she does like a weird little like, squat and then turned around and
this wind up. I'm gonna fucking kick you.
But one thing that I do enjoy about He-Man and the Masters of the Universe is that every aspect of this seems exactly like, I don't know what they were smoking, maybe if it was the 80s what they were snorting, but like everything seems like it is straight out of that world of belongs on the side of a painted on a van.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like the picture of a shirtless He-Man with the sword held above his high above his head, riding on this gigantic green tiger with like a little imp wizard dude, and Tila as like the Princess Leia, like, you know, but it's just, it all is like, and the
that pose right
place
there
being called Eternia, and it's just so like,
that's totally a Leia pose. That's slave Leia pose right there, dude.
that's slave Leia right there, dude.
That's slave Leia pose right there, dude.
Aren't you a little short for a old and silly wizard?
I'm a Jawa. Yeah, there's more poses, and yeah. What's one thing that stood out to you guys in this? Is it the voices? Was it the art direction? Was it the colors? I mean, what would you say stands out?
It was Beastman stuck in mud. No.
Beastman was stuck in mud twice, dude.
I don't know. For me, it was just almost even more than G.I. Joe. This felt like the pacing and the structuring of it just felt so janky and herky-jerky. Like, we start the episode right in the middle of it, and it's, for me, I felt so out of place for the whole time, because I was like, wait, I thought this was different, or there was something else. And sure, that's from not being familiar with it, but it's also, I think, a slight, like, not failing of the show, but like weakness of the show is to not be clear of what's happening, where, and
right.
who.
Exactly. It's kind of like taking notes from Scooby-Doo, like we said. Like, they just show up somewhere, they do a thing, episode done, rinse, repeat for the next one. The thing about it, at the end, we had Man-at-Arms just saying, like, hey, what did we learn today? The stupid wizard failed, but should you give up? No. You gotta try again. Goodbye. Okay. Great moral, I guess. That's the one highlight, maybe, for me.
That's enough out of me. So who are the Masters of the Universe? Because it's He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Is that Man-at-Arms and Tila and Cringer and Orko?
They add more as it goes along, but on both sides.
That's what I mean, is like, who are the assorted or the assembled Masters of the Universe? Because that is a plural referential there.
Yeah, it's them. Yeah, it's the good guys.
Okay. Why are they
Maybe,
the Masters
I don't know.
of the Universe?
Dude, I don't know.
Holy shit, I'm just noticing now, the Prince Adam, like He-Man and Master-at-Arms, they both have the same furry little butt loincloth.
Yeah, dude. It's Filmation, dude. They're lazy as shit. They just reuse the fuck out of everything.
They copy-pasted and just drew over the same body.
Yeah, I mean...
We saw multiple reused animation things within this one episode, so...
But even past that, I just like the idea of, like, on fucking Eternia. Yeah, these two guys are like shopping at the same place. Like, hey, they see each other, they point.
Whoa,
like, hey,
you got one too. Oh yeah, I got one.
Furry red short, little booty short butts.
Yep.
You didn't even need those Man-at-Arms. You have green tights on. Yeah, but I wanted one.
You're wearing leggings. I've got nothing.
I needed this. You should just...
Beastman has a fur butt too.
Well, I mean, more than one.
Well, I mean, like that.
He's got a fur butt and then a fur butt on top of that.
Exactly.
Butts on butts on butts on butts.
Fur on butts on fur.
Yeah, that's... I don't know what else to say about He-Man and Masters of the Universe. Just butts on butts on butts on butts.
Yep.
And there's no, like...
No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
No slogan, really, other than, like, I have the power!
I have the power. By the power of Grayskull.
Hey, big weakness of this is that we just get that intro, like... If I was a kid, I would be so disinterested until the actual episode starts, because if this intro just starts and he's immediately like, I'm Prince Adam and I have the sword, I have to say the spell. I'm like,
yeah, it doesn't slap like the other ones do. The other ones got theme songs that slap. This one just explains what happens.
Yeah, I want a theme song.
Prince of Eternia and defender of
give me
the
something to
secrets
bop
of
to.
Castle Grayskull. This is Cringer.
And this is cringy.
Well, yeah, when the second
This is Cringer. He's a freaking scaredy cat.
like okay,
I'm Prince
well,
Adam.
I'm
The
not
next thing I'm
interested.
going to tell you is the stupid cat's name.
So you're not what you're telling me is that you and Cringer are not teenage mutants, ninjas, or turtles.
Nah, dude.
Well, I guess maybe Prince Adam is a teenager, but
Is he though? He
Shitty
looks like
kind.
Then he
35.
turns into a man.
oh, that makes it worse, dude.
He turns into a man.
Hey, Father, what do you have for me to do? I'm 36.
See, that's what every
Teach
other-
me.
That's what every other. Oh God, that's what every other He-Man like changed, was that we're gonna actually make him change. So they actually had him be skinnier and smaller, and then he has the power, and then he gets big. You know.
Yep.
I mean,
So
he
just
already
being
kind of
there.
looks like a football player. Like he's got
He
some
is
broadness to him.
The only difference is he's not half naked, and he lowers his voice and has an echo when he's He-Man. That's it.
I just love Skeletor, so I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, this wasn't even a two-parter. They didn't
No.
have enough in the tank for a fucking two-parter in the pilot.
That's right.
Oh.
Yeah. Low on the totem pole. Sorry, He-Man, you had your shot.
You had your shot.
Load him, pole.
We were gonna run into this eventually. I mean, some of them have been bangers and like
Oh, yeah.
interesting to rewatch and appreciate. This one is kind of a letdown. So
Now
Yeah.
I almost wish we had started with He-Man so that we had places to go up from.
sure, it's kind of good to have like
You know
some
you're gonna
highs
get
and
the-
lows, but then we'll go back. I mean, we're gonna get to Transformers eventually. So like when we get there,
Yeah.
like it's gonna swing back up a little bit.
These are all toy ads. It's just which ones are able to survive as shows outside of just being a toy ad. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Correct. Let us know what you think of He-Man and any other 80s nostalgia toy-related show you might have come across in your history of watching cartoons or whatever. And we'll be sure to check it out. And stay tuned for our next one where we possibly get into Transformers. Or maybe something else.
Maybe.
We'll see. Thanks for joining us.
You have the power to hit that like button and subscribe for more Fargonauts content.
You have the power. By the power of Grayskull.
You have the power.
We'll meet again, He-Man.